Today's episode is brought to you by the XR Week. The XR Week is a virtual expo about XR for business applications taking place from 17th to 21st of May. Get impulses for your own company at innovative lectures, make new contacts, and exchange ideas about the latest technologies and the latest hardware. Register now as a visitor, exhibitor, or sponsor and become part of the XR Week at xr-week.converve.io.
Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode.
Hi and welcome to episode 20 of the Next Dimension Podcast. Your new podcast that's all about VR and also a bit of AR. And today I'm really happy because we're going to have an amazing show. With us tonight is Tommy Palm, the CEO of Resolution Games, who has just launched Demeo. Tommy, thanks for being here and how are you doing?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you.
And you are in Stockholm, and tonight we're going to talk about, everything about Demeo, and I can't wait to hear directly from you how it was to develop that amazing game. That I can already tell everyone, this game is absolutely amazing. Also, I'm super happy to have Tetiana back. Tetiana from Disco VR, an amazing, really, really wonderful channel about virtual reality. So, Tetiana, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic. I'm doing so great. I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure.
Perfect. So good. We haven't talked to each other for a long time. No, yesterday we were playing Demeo together. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we cut up.
Exactly. And you have a wonderful video of that session on your channel, Disco VR. So everyone, please check out her channel. It's fantastic. And you can find Gary, Tetiana, and me playing Demeo. And also here, of course, Gary Walkden, the author of the Memory Engine and also a YouTuber and with the great channel Immersed Robot. Gary, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thank you. I think YouTube is elevating it a bit beyond what it is at the moment, but it's okay. It's going okay. Just doing a few videos here and there, and I'm enjoying doing it. But it's great to be back on the show again. I try to be on the show as much as possible, but I can't be here every week, and it's just a great time. I love talking about virtual reality, so it's good to be back.
Yeah. I also enjoy it so much to talk about virtual reality, and then it's so great to have people like Tommy here, right? It's just amazing. I'm just so glad to make this podcast, and I hope everyone is enjoying it too. My name is Sebastian. I'm the host of the show and the founder of MRTV, the channel that you're watching right now. Yeah, so for all of you who don't know yet about the Next Dimension podcast, that this podcast is being live streamed every Saturday at 9 p.m. Stockholm time, 8 p.m. in London, noon in San Francisco, and 3 p.m. in New York City. And you can also listen to it as an audio podcast on all the podcast providers, iTunes, Spotify, Google, and Alexa. And if you enjoy this podcast, after these 20 shows that we did, I believe that now would be a great time to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. So get out your iPhone or iPad and simply open the podcast app. It's already pre-installed. And please also look for the Next Dimension podcast and give us a 5-star review. That absolutely helps more people to find this podcast. And this is how you could say thank you. So today's show, I'm really super excited about it. We have actually like two huge topics. And these topics are, of course, we're going to talk about Demeo. We're going to find out all of the details about this game, how we felt playing it, and how Tommy felt making it. And that's going to be really, really cool. And that's in the last part of this episode, in the second part. And in the first part, we're going to talk about some current other topics. And the biggest topic, of course, being Vivecon, coming up very soon on 11th of May. And the new HTC headsets are being shown there for the first time. And there have been some spicy rumors already of HTC launching a Vive Pro 2 and a Vive Focus 3. And also, we already heard about some leaked prices, like $900 and $1,500 or $1,700 for the standalone headset. So we're going to talk about all this in today's show. That is going to be really, really interesting. And for the first time, this podcast is being sponsored by XR Week. XR Week is a virtual expo taking place from 17th of May until 21st of May, and it's an expo that is all about XR for business. So if you want to know how you can use XR for work and for business, please check them out. The link is down in the description of this video. Yes. Now we're through, and now we're going to talk about what we did in the last week. And I want to take this chance to get to know Tommy a bit. So, Tommy Palm, you are the CEO of Resolution Games, and you are a maker of VR games. But before your time in VR, you have worked on and basically made a game that probably all of us know, and that is Candy Crush. I know that probably everyone who's watching this has already played this, and probably you're already tired of talking about it. But before we talk about VR, I simply want to mention it, that you had a life before VR. But now tell us, what made you feel so excited about virtual reality that now you're all into VR games?
Well, I've been into games for a really long time. I started making games back in the mid '80s with our CTO Martin. Him and me grew up together, and he taught me how to program. Then in the early '90s, I tried the first arcade VR machine, and I always thought that would be like the future of games, that you'd be inside the game world and just hang out with your friends there and just do incredible, cool stuff that you saw in the movies back then in the 80s and 90s. And in 2014, I saw the Samsung Gear VR headset, and I felt that this was something that was very concrete. It was using a smartphone for the computing power, and that was something that I've had spent already almost 20 years optimizing for. So I thought I'll bring the old gang back together, and we'll make VR games for that. And that was 6.5 years ago, and here we are today still.
Yeah, right.
Going at it strong.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I can remember those early times very well because I had another channel before MRTV, which was called Daydream District, and I was covering Daydream as like the only person in the world, probably. Probably that's why it went down. But I can remember in 2017, we also had an interview, and we were talking about, I think, was it called Wonder Globe, or what was the name of the game?
Wonder Glade.
Wonder Glade, exactly. That was Wonder Glade. It was an amazing game, actually, for the Daydream platform. Really, really cool. And since then, you had been spending so much time into virtual reality, and the games kept on coming. Resolution Games was like so busy, launching all these games. So, Tommy, I simply want to ask you, why are you so persistent with virtual reality? I mean, it's not a huge market right now, right? Still, if you compare it to your Candy Crush times or doing something for 2D audiences, I mean, the money is not there as compared to there. Is it simply you're so excited about the technology, and why don't you go back to 2D?
Well, I'm sure it's going to be there. I think that this is just the beginning of something really good. And now, I mean, with the Quest 2, we're seeing completely different numbers. And I can share here for the first time that Demeo made $500,000 in the first 48 hours.
Wow, congratulations. Wow.
So I think the numbers are coming. And one thing that we're seeing with a lot of our old games is that they continue making money for a really long time. So if you can make $500,000 in the first Thursday and Friday, and obviously Saturday and Sunday is the good days of the week for selling VR games. then you have something very exciting there. So early days, but this is gonna be a really big market.
Wow, perfect. And now that you're on the Next Dimension podcast, the next 500,000 is already locked in for the game. So yeah, really cool, really amazing. Tommy, what I want to know, normally I ask the guests, what was your last week like? And as you are in your position as the CEO of Resolution Games, that you have now just launched the game, tell us a bit more about the days going towards the launch and the launch itself. How did you spend those days? Did you spend it together with your team? And how can we imagine these last days at Resolution Games in Stockholm?
Well, it's still the pandemic here in Sweden, and we have this third wave, so everybody's working from home. So, which I have for more than a year. So I do all the work from where I am right now. But we meet each other online, of course, and we actually meet quite a lot in VR in the game, and we talk about the game there. Like we play the game, we talk about design decisions and bugs and what we need to do, and we take notes through the nose hole, of the headset, which I think is very funny. Yeah. It's been, it's a lot of pressure because it's launch week, so it's hard to sleep. I've been doing way too little of that this week, and then everyone has been quite anxious. This is our most ambitious project so far. We spent more than 3 years developing this with our biggest team on it. More than 20 people at least, like full time, and then people have dipped in and out of the project as well. So so a lot of high hopes on the launch, and obviously that went fantastic on Thursday.
Yeah, right. Wow, congratulations. We're going to talk so much more about the game, so we're just dipping our toes now here into it. And wow, 3 years working on that with 20 people in Stockholm in Sweden, which is like not a low-cost country. So you can just imagine like what kind of money it costs to make such a game. And wow, yeah, it better result in some good outcome, but it seems like it really does. So,
but the quality shows. The quality of the game shows.
Exactly.
It's so polished, which is rare for VR games nowadays. Like they try to produce them, but this one just seems like it's so great in terms of like the quality in the little details. You can tell that so many professionals were working on it for a very long time. Like it really does show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a lot of passion. One of the great things with working with games in general is people love what they do. They often they came into the industry because they love playing games, and like this is their chance to put their mark on history, and you can really see that in all the minute details. Like, and you're combining all these different people are like experts on sound effects or experts on music and experts on animation and 3D and all these different tasks, and they all collaborate together so incredibly well. So I can only recommend to people to go into video game.
Okay, all right, yeah, cool. Yeah, I might think about it. It's really an exciting business, but not as simple, right? And you need lots of training, I believe, to become successful like you are now. Wow, very interesting. So before we go around to the next people here in the talk, I want to ask you, what games do you actually like to play in VR, Tommy, in general, other than Demeo?
Other than Demeo, actually, it was funny because we launched the game, and then yesterday was Friday evening, and I started chatting with one of my old best friends, and he had an Oculus Quest that he hadn't been using a lot, and he heard about the game, and so we actually played Demeo like on my first night off in a really long time. I spent it playing Demeo.
That
And
is
I
so
spent
funny.
hundreds of hours playing it. So that's kind of is a really fun thing. I've also been very impressed with Fast Travel Games. If you know that company,
Yeah, of
the
course.
Swedish
They are your
company
neighbors there. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Did a horror game recently. It was
Great, yes.
great. Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot even try those games because I'm so afraid. So fast travel games, sorry about that, but I think I should still have a look at it. Yeah, okay, cool. Tommy, thank you for that now. We're going to talk much more about all kind of different topics here. It's going to be a really, really cool evening here. Thanks again for joining us. Perfect. Yeah, and now I would like to know about Tetiana. How was your last couple of weeks? What have you been up to?
Well, it's been very exciting. It's really hard not to talk about Demeo right now since I have so many, things to say, questions, but just the thing that Tommy said that he spent hours already playing that game means it doesn't get boring. You just keep wanting to replay it and keep beating it. So, oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm going to talk about different games. I did finally manage to catch up with some other games that I wanted to, and I played also a game that was released recently called Mask Maker. And I was so excited about it because it's from the same developers who created The Fisherman's Tale. And that's probably my favorite story-driven puzzle game because of this beautiful storyline and how all the little things like voice acting, the gameplay, it's so engaging, it's so beautiful. And I was super excited to get a new puzzle game from them. And Mask Maker is quite different, but it's just, it's art. These kind of games from that company is just art. I love it. So I definitely recommend if you like very chill and smooth puzzles that have a very creative gameplay. And another game that I played my new favorite is actually CloudXR. And that's, it's a turn-based RPG, but it's not a tabletop. So it's not like Demeo. It's more like the Final Fantasy series. If you have played that, I don't know, but I love Final Fantasy series. And that's probably the first game that I saw that was similar to that in this gameplay. And
what is the name again?
Really enjoyed it. CloudXR. So ARCAXER.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's from App Labs, so it's not in the official store, but on App Labs. But it's it's funny because you have this godlike view, kind of like in Demeo when you're controlling your character to also go up the ladder or the tower. But then when you're being attacked by an enemy, you suddenly the view turns to the first person, and you get this turn-based battle. And you have to move your body to avoid the attacks and all these different fireballs and laser beams and some kind of fish jumping over you trying to hurt you. And you try to avoid all of that. And then you collect the special abilities to fight them back. So that's really fun because I thought at first that it was just a sitting game. You can play it while sitting. But no, you actually have to move around and try to evade all these attacks. So it's really fun.
This sounds really good.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that game. It's a ton of fun. Yeah, so I was super happy to be able to catch up with some of the gaming. I'm actually more free with work. I have submitted 3 papers, 1 to the journal and 2 to book chapter, and I'm feeling extremely productive.
Wow.
And now I feel like I deserve to play some VR.
You do, and you did.
Yeah. So that was my week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, very good. How about you, Gary? What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
A lot of Airlink, actually. I've been trying Airlink out and sort of comparing it and contrasting it with virtual desktop and that kind of stuff. So I've been trying a lot of different titles on the Quest, really. I've been playing Quest more than anything else, really, this past couple of weeks. So I've not touched a lot of PC VR, but I have been playing PC VR titles through the Quest. And the last week you had the developer for VR Skater on the show, and I played that through Airlink. Works great through Airlink, by the way. And it's a really cool. It's very early days. I will say it's very early days with that title, but you can see where it's going, and it's just a joy to play. It's really, it's quite an addictive game. You do these runs, and then you want to play the runs again and again. And I've only sort of dabbled in it so far because of, I've been trying all of these different Airlink titles as well. So Elite Dangerous and that kind of stuff. And actually, I'm running through the Gallery Episode 2, Heart of the Emberstone, because I never finished that when it came out all those years ago. And Cloudhead, I think they did a great job on those 2 episodes. And I'm just trying to get that finished. And it's a great game. And when I can play it in the living room, I'm not secluding myself away in the office, away from my family. I can still sort of interact with them while I'm playing through these games on the Quest. And it works great. It works really great with Airlink. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that stuff this past week. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Just the same old stuff. But yeah, that's my week. Okay. How about you, Sebastian?
Cool. Yeah, so I'm currently working on the first startup pitch event that I'm hosting. It's called Pitch MRTV. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. So for all the people who are working in VR or AR startups, they can apply. They simply send me their 1-minute elevator pitch talking about what they're doing. And what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at them. And I will hold this pitch event completely in virtual reality. So that is going to be pretty exciting, I believe. In general, I believe that pitch events are super exciting because you can watch it and it's so interesting to see those startups who want to convince you that their idea is cool and they only have a super limited time to do so, right? And then they're asking for, I don't know, it could be funding or it could be downloads or people to work with them. So I'm super excited about this Pitch MRTV. So if there's any startup out there who wants to talk in front of the tens of thousands of my subscribers, then please get in touch with me. Send me your 1-minute pitch. It's not about the production values of this 1 minute. Simply take your smartphone and talk into your phone and simply tell me about what you're doing. And then on 19th of May, you can probably pitch at Pitch MRTV. So that is what I've been working on. That's one thing. Super exciting.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So are you offering the promotion on your channel, or are you actually planning to invest in some of these ideas if you find something very, very good?
If something is super awesome, perhaps. But there's also going to be investors who will watch those pitches, and who knows, it doesn't need to be me. Probably Tommy sees something interesting that he wants to invest in. So I believe it's great to shine a light on entrepreneurs in our field that we love, VR, right? Tom is also, of course, an entrepreneur, right? It's we are all doing something about virtual reality, trying to push VR forward. So I want to shine a light on that it's a struggle. Yeah, also MRTV, it's also a startup in this field, right? And it's the beginnings here right now, they're super hard, but I think we all have this crazy passion about VR, right? And that's why we're doing this, believe in it, and that's why we're sticking to it. Like Tommy, you have so many games that you have launched already. You persistent, and I think that really you can tell that in many of the VR entrepreneurs right now when it's not mainstream yet. So it's exciting to shine a light on that, and also on the investors, because there are investors who believe in that, and they are also very important. So Pitch MRTV going to happen here on the channel on 19th of May. Yep, that's what I've been working on. And then another really cool thing that I did in virtual reality, I am one of the lucky few people who have a Plutosphere account. And that is truly, truly the next level of virtual reality of our industry, in my opinion. So for all of you who don't know Plutosphere, it is cloud-based streaming. So once you have an account, you download a client app to your Quest or Quest 2, and you simply play Steam VR games that are streamed to you from the cloud. You get your account there. You log into your Steam VR on that remote server from Plutosphere. You download your Steam VR games to that computer, and then you stream it to your Quest over your network. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked because I could feel no difference as compared to playing with virtual desktop and Airlink. Even though that server is on the Amazon cloud. It is absolutely magic. It is the next huge thing. It's a game changer. And now that I have that account, I know that is going to be the next huge thing, and it's not so far away, right? It's not years away. It's now. So it's really cool, and that's also why I believe that PC VR is not dead. So the next platform that can actually compete with the Quest Store is going to be Steam VR streamed from the cloud to any of the headsets. What do you think, Tommy? Would you agree to that?
Well, I do think that streaming games could be really interesting, especially for like multiplayer games. And I think one of the big things with virtual reality is that it's so great to feel this sense of presence, right? So having kind of persistent worlds is a very interesting concept, and I definitely think that it could be a really exciting way forward to do it by cloud streaming. Right. However, I'm an engineer, so I know the problems of people to understand like the Wi-Fi situation in their home. Right now, we're seeing a lot of like average latency time of 100 milliseconds, and that's too much if you want to do that. So that last mile, as usual, with deliveries and everything, like you might have good internet to your house, but we see a lot of people struggling with understanding what is a good router, how close do I have to be, is walls in the way to create a really good experience. Right. Even our engineers who are very good at this, you just forget sometimes, like there's a microwave in the other room, like life gets in between.
Life gets in the way, that's right. Yeah, but anyways, I must say I was like blown away how well that works right now. So this company, Plutosphere, they are not public yet. They are giving out a few test accounts to some people. So yeah, I was shocked how well it works right now. And
I was wondering, Sebastian, actually, just very quickly, did you measure any latency or anything like that? Did you use any kind of performance testing overlay or?
Actually, yes. So when I applied for that Plutosphere account, actually, they gave me like a link that I had to click, and with that link, it would ping all of the AWS servers. And they would show me like, okay, how much milliseconds do I have from Dortmund, from my home, to these AWS servers? And the one with the best ping was the one in Frankfurt, and it was 19 milliseconds. And then they said, okay, you can join our beta program. And then they put my Plutosphere server on that AWS in Frankfurt, and it's really, really amazing. It works so well. I'm so shocked by this.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to try that, because I mean that 19 milliseconds. Obviously, you've got extra latency with the encoding and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's great. I mean, that sounds great anyway. Either way, that sounds great. So I mean, I'm fully on board for this kind of future. I would love it to get to this point, but I've not tried it, so I'm very jealous of you, Sebastian. Honestly.
Wow, I'm really in a lucky position. It's fantastic, and I'm obviously going to make a video about it and show you and probably measure more latency, but I couldn't tell the difference between streaming from my local server. That was unbelievable.
But I wonder if they already have any information about the pricing. How are they going to charge? Information so far.
They didn't say anything yet, right? So they didn't say. But it cannot be so cheap. So I looked up actually the prices of that servers that you can rent from Amazon, and the one that they need to rent to make this happen is called a G4 server. It costs like 50 US dollar cent per hour just to rent that server. So so if you want to play, I don't know, 30 hours, or you probably play 2 hours per day, and then you have 60 hours per month, that would be like $30 a month, and it's tough to make this happen right now, I believe. But the prices are going to go down, so let's see how they're going to make it happen. But that was mind blowing.
But it's still the subscription service, and even right now, when we have these single apps that have subscription service, they receive so much hate. People hate the idea of pay for a game and not actually have it, and to need to continue doing that. I don't know. That might be one of the things that I don't know how they will
But you
solve
do
it.
own your games on Steam, right? So I had to simply log into my Steam account on the Plutosphere server, and all my games were there. I could simply play all my games. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I have invited the Plutosphere CEO to this show, so hopefully we're going to see him and can ask him all the questions. Yeah, right. Other than that, I played Demeo with you guys yesterday, and we're going to talk about that later. That was amazing. But now let's get to our current topics, the current topics of the last week, and there are some really interesting ones that we can get into. And first I would like to speak with you about another game, a game announcement. Let me share my screen, and that game announcement comes from the team behind Farpoint. Farpoint is one of my favorite games in VR, my favorite shooters in VR, or actually overall games in VR. It's so well done, and I love the aim controller. There is co-op shooting on PSVR. It's an amazing game, and this studio is called Impulse Gear. Now they have announced a new game called Larcenauts, and let me simply play the trailer here in the background, so we have an idea of what we're talking about. And yeah, this is a 6 versus 6 player shooter, and it does remind us of the 2D counterparts like Overwatch, for example. And this is not going to come out on PSVR. This is going to happen on Quest and Rift and Steam VR in summer of this year. Looks really beautiful. So I would like to ask Tommy, are you into shooter games? Do you enjoy shooting games in virtual reality?
I'm big on shooters on PC.
Ah, really? Okay.
But not on VR as much. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I've been in the past. I was sensitive to motion sickness. Now I think I'm better because I've been so much in VR. But I don't know. I still I'm old school there.
Okay, so you're making lots of VR games, but for playing VR shooters, you do prefer the 2D thing. Okay, sure. Why not? Okay, cool. So how about you, Tetiana and Gary? What are your thoughts about this? And have you played Farpoint, for example? Gary, have you played Farpoint?
Yeah, I've played Farpoint. I didn't finish it actually, but I did get a fair way through. I did spend quite a number of hours in there, to be honest. I must be close to the end of that game, but I've not got a PlayStation VR anymore, so I'm not going to finish that anytime soon. But no, this one looks so. I was a big fan of Farpoint. I did like that game. I thought they did a really great job with the limited hardware that they were working with, and of course, it was one of the first titles that used the aim controller as well, which is a great peripheral for the PSVR. This one looks, I mean, Overwatch is the obvious comparison, not just in sort of aesthetics, how it looks, but also with the fact that they're trying to give each of these characters some kind of personality, and each class has definitive roles and this kind of stuff, which is exactly the same as Overwatch. And although this is not really my type of game either, I will say that Overwatch is one of the few types of that game that I did get into very briefly, because I don't know if it's free to play now, but it wasn't free to play when it first came out, but they did have free weekends, and I jumped into a few of those free weekends and actually had a pretty good time, far better time than I expected. So maybe I'll give this one a try, maybe I won't, I don't know, because I think part of it is I'm just not very good at these games, and
Same here.
It's good. I really want to be good, and I'm sure I'll have a much better time in them if I was good. But it's like this population one. I don't want to. I guess I'm too lazy to put in the time to really get good at them as well, and that's the other thing. So it's all on me. It's not on the game, but it's just not my kind of thing, really.
Got it. But I can totally I understand it as well. Like if you really want to be good, you have to spend so much time. And there are people who just spend all the time in these games, and then it's just like not fair because you will be shot in the head in the first few seconds, right? So that is something. So Tetiana, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think it's my phobia in a way to be in a team game, to be in like a team shooter and be like the worst player there. Like, you suck, Tetiana. Why did we even invite you here? You know, like in those crazy nightmares, everyone's laughing at you. Anyway, so this is the thing about it. I actually haven't tried the Fairpoint, and in this game, like I said, I'm fairly new to team shooters, and that's like the thing. I don't want to frustrate my teammates. And at the same time, you know that the only way you can get better is by playing, by being really, bad and improving over time. And I can completely relate to what Gary just said. Like, I don't think I have the time to do that. And I would like to enjoy the game. And that's one of the reasons why I really do relax playing single player games, because there's no pressure, there's no stress of supporting everyone and not disappointing anyone. So, but that being said, the game looks really cute and it has its charm with the cartoonish graphics in a way, but sort of like Population 1 and Overwatch also have the similar one. And considering that it's going to run on Quest 2, you need to have simpler graphics. So that's something you can sacrifice. So I believe that I would be willing to give it a try. I always want to give things a try at least once to see how it feels.
Exactly. So
did any one of you get the chance to try out Blastone? The shooting dueling game that Resolution made?
I'm so sorry to say, but I didn't try it.
I didn't know it. It did. The name did come up quite a few times. I remember seeing it around, but I didn't get a chance to try it. No.
Okay. It's a fun different concept. Like you a lot of the time is spent dodging bullets from your opponents. The bullets move slow, so it's like
it looks nice.
Half game, half workout.
It's like a super colorful and funky, super hot. When I'm dodging bullets there, but it looks. I'm just like Google the screenshots real fast.
Yeah.
It
looks good
really
actually.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you told me about it. I would love to try it now.
Right. It's also on Quest, right, Tommy? Or and on Steam VR as well, right? Or yeah, right. Yeah, cool. Yep. So I believe for all these people who have more time to really get into these kind of games, like 6 versus 6 person shooters, it's amazing. It must be really amazing to spend time and get better and better and to know everything about it. That must be good. Oh, yeah. We're all not students anymore, where we had the time to just deep dive into a game and just play it forever. Yeah. Anyways, so Larcenauts coming out in summer this year for Quest, for Rift, and also for Steam VR. All right, and now let's get to our next topic here. And let me just check this out. So the next topic is hardware. We're going to talk now a bit about the Yaw 2 motion simulator. And that's the Yaw 2, not the Yaw 1. And the Yaw 1, it was some kind of like, how would I call this? Like a saucer where you can sit inside, and it would also simulate motion. But this one now, the Yaw 2, it looks so much more professional. And the thing is
comfortable.
It does, exactly. So actually, I tried the Yaw 1 at CES 2 years ago, and it was incredible, even though it just looked like a saucer, right? But it was still fantastic. But this one now, the Yaw 2, it looks desirable. Let's have a look here at the trailer together. For all the people who are just listening to this, somebody is playing a racing game and also like a space shooter, and like it looks just astonishing, and it seems like you can feel the street, right? When you drive over something, and it seems like to get way more immersive when you play these games. So the great news is that Yaw 2 has been very successful. They have already collected 1 million euros or dollars. Let me just check. 1 million euros on Kickstarter with 669 backers, and there's still 29 days to go. And if you want to get this incredible device, I believe it's incredible. I mean, just looking at it, would love to try it myself. You can get it now. Let me just check it. And you can pledge $1,090 to get the Yaw 2. There's the 2D version. If you want the one that can also spin, I believe then you have to pledge $1,470. That is the Yaw 2 plus the Yaw platform. Yeah, and I must say, honestly speaking, it does not seem to be so expensive, right? $1,500 for something that looks like this. Tommy, could that pique your interest?
Privately, yes, I would love to have something like that. I can't because my stairs are very narrow, so I have to be very picky with.
Okay.
I can only the bottom floor is where I've stacked out all my large things. But right now I'm on like 2 floors up, so can't do that. And as a developer, I mean, a lot of times with any peripheral like this, you have to kind of implement their API in order to have it supported. I don't know if these guys are doing something really smart with. I'm not sure how you do that without an API.
I'm not exactly sure, but for some reason, in simulation games, in racers, it seems to be in it already. Like some information about like the movements. I'm also not deep into the topic, but it seems like there is already something that developers can get out of these kind of games.
I could imagine that for PC rather easily.
For PC, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
There is it's such a big genre, so there is a lot of peripherals that people who are deeply into this want. Yeah. And that's where the key is. Another venue for this is, of course, like an arcade place where you can go and have something that is dedicated. I used to love them. They're not very common in Sweden anymore. But VR, I would love to see more of that. Like you could go to a place, have fun with your friends or family, and there's a lot of like really futuristic machines that you go into, and it does insane things.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I'm so sad and sorry for all the people who started in a VR arcade, like 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, right? And then like boom, Corona came and killed it all. So yeah, hopefully this is over soon. So Tetiana, what are your thoughts about the Yaw motion simulator? Is that something that could pique your interest?
It could, but I also don't believe that I'm the most regular consumer. After all, I would definitely like to have it to try these games that can, I could benefit from these accelerated movements that would absolutely help with my motion sickness in games. And I think that's important because I like racers and I like the space shooters, but I don't think I can play them for longer than 15 minutes. And I what I actually like about this, I'm not sure about Yaw 2, but from the trailer I could see that Yaw 1. So I'm not sure about Yaw 1, but Yaw 2 looks like can be used with flat screen as well.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you want, you can just play the racer and the flat screen and it will still make this amazing movement. So I think that's really cool. And with the design, they did go with a more traditional style. I feel like with the very first one, they tried to impress the consumer. Look, we created this egg. That's so futuristic.
Yeah, that cute egg, exactly.
But it makes sense. They wanted to make something that would stand out and grab your attention before you even know what it does. So I guess now that they have succeeded, they decided to focus more on how it's going to work. So if they have, I read that you can integrate your own chair.
Right.
I'm not really sure how you would do that. Like any chair or just the seating? I don't know.
The chair, if you actually want the one with a chair, you have to also buy it as an add-on, the chair that you saw in the video. The normal one, the cheapest one for $1,000, it's just a platform, and then you can put your own chair on it, or whatever you want to. So it's more versatile.
Okay,
I think it's compatible with certain kinds of chairs, racing chairs and that kind of stuff. I think it has to be those kinds.
Right.
Yeah, but I wonder how compatible. Are they going to be compatible with the chairs that are already in our houses, or will we just need to buy another chair on top of that? And that's already over $1,500, which, it's, I don't know if there would be many consumers who would want to have it in their houses. It's not just for the gaming experience. It's taking a lot of room. Like it's taking a lot of room. Like you want to play VR, you need to have all this space 6 by feet already. Like throw away all your furniture, and but keep another room just for that chair. So you need to have 2 rooms now just to play VR. It's getting out of hand.
I think
you'll rent a new apartment just to play VR.
I think it's really for those VR enthusiasts, for those simmers. Like I was thinking, like, hey, Steve, our VR flight sim guy. If you're watching this, he probably really wants this thing, right? All the flight simmers. I think that is just the perfect application, right? The perfect device to enjoy these games even more, right, Gary? Is it something that you could imagine for yourself?
I'd love to try it. For me, it's something like it'd be a try before you buy kind of thing. I wouldn't just put out that amount of money just when I don't know how much I'd use it anyway. But for example, for me, I'd love to try this with Elite Dangerous. I mean, Elite Dangerous is one of my favorite games ever, and I would love to try this for that. It's interesting though, because the original one, I believe it was called the Your VR, and this one is called the Your 2. So, and as Tetiana mentioned, you can mount a screen in front of you and lock it, or I think there's 2 versions actually, or maybe not, or maybe there's some additions to it where you can lock it without the 360 movement. So the monitor will stay in front of you and you'll still get forward and backward movement and a little bit of sideways movement, but it won't go around entirely 360. But you can, I think that might be an upgrade or something like that, where you can use it then with VR platforms as well. But it's interesting they've sort of pivoted in that direction, which makes sense for them, because now they can market it not just at the VR community, but at general simmers as well. So I think that's great, and that's going to bode really well for them. I've actually I reached out to them a while ago, and I said, look, I'll cover postage. Just send me one for a week. I'll cover postage. I'll look after it. It will be fine. And they responded, and they said they're still working through the Kickstarter and this kind of. They're not going to send me one. I know that, but I thought I'll reach out to them. So if they're watching this, Immersed Robot, let me try it.
Yeah. Also, Gary, you are here on the Next Dimension podcast, right? So you should totally get one. Absolutely.
I don't know why they've not contacted me.
I also don't know what's going on there. Right. So dear your team, you see, you have some takers here. Gary is there. He would totally love to try it out, and me, of course, as well. I'm not so far from you. I think your team is in Hungary actually, so that's not so far from Germany, right? You can just drive over, no problem at all. So would love to check that out, of course, and this is amazing. So I really, really want to try this out, because I loved the first version, and this one looks even better. So for all of you out there who want to support companies and Kickstarter campaigns, you have another chance. Your 2 is there for still another 29 days. And now, since we're here, I can also ask into the chat, who of you is at least interested in the Your 2? I don't want to ask who's going to buy it, but who's excited about what you saw here. Please say yes. And if you're not into these kind of things, and if you believe that's over the top, then say no. But if you are excited about the Your 2 and you would probably want to see it here on the channel, then say yes, and I will try really hard to review that device for you. So please do give me some idea about your thoughts on that Your 2. All right, cool. So now we get to a huge topic, the last topic before we talk about Demeo. And lots of people, seems like the first 2 want the Your 2 or are interested in it. Hello, Dr. Dodi, and hello, Blizzardo. Yep. And now let's talk about Vivecon. Wow, Vivecon 2021 is going to happen on the 11th of May. So very, very soon, HTC is going to tell us all about their new headsets. And HTC has already been teasing them on their Twitter account. They have shown us little bits and pieces of the device. Yeah, like a couple of months before they teased the tracker, we were all like a bit disappointed. And I was like super disappointed because I thought, okay, that is the standalone headset, like the big competition for the Quest 2, but I was wrong. But now it seems there are headsets coming on Vivecon, and we already had some leaks. And let's have a look at the leaks and what they said. Let me just go to the article here, to the Road to VR article again, and let's have a look at that. So, report: HTC to announce Vive Focus 3 and Vive Pro 2 next week. And the interesting thing is that not only those names have been leaked, but also some pricing information. And this web magazine called The Protocol claims that they have already seen the devices on a web shop called Alza Shop, and the pricing was also shown on the listings with the Vive Focus 3, a standalone headset, because the Focus 1 and 2, they were standalone headsets, priced at 1,474 euros, which is $1,700, and the Vive Pro at $842, which is around $1,000. So from these names, the Vive Pro 2, you can imagine it is, the successor of the Vive Pro, which is kind of interesting because that means that Vive is kind of like doing away with the Cosmos series, which was honestly not so great and most probably also not very successful, but now going back to the Vive Pro and offering some kind of successor to the Vive Pro that might probably be a competitor for the Valve Index. And for the Vive Focus 3, it seems to be a standalone headset. Vive Focus 1 and Vive Focus 2 were both standalone headsets, and they were completely for enterprise customers. So, very interesting. And I would like to probably ask Gary, what are your thoughts, first of all, on those two headsets, Vive Pro 2 and Focus 3? What do you believe are we seeing here? Do you think this could be actually true?
I think it makes sense. I've got no reason to doubt what's being reported here, and it makes sense in terms of pricing, I believe, as well, from what we've seen from HTC in the past. Looking at this, I mean, just first off, the Vive Focus 3, if it's at this cost and it's targeted to enterprise, at least it seems more clear cut. With HTC in the past, it's been a little bit more of a merger between enterprise and consumer. They've targeted it at enterprise, but then also had this consumer angle as well, which they don't seem to want to miss out on. With this price, if it's accurate, it's $1,700. It's sort of clearly taking it in that enterprise direction, I would say, for a standalone headset. Clearly not competing with the Quest, which is what Alvin Graylan said as well. I expect it to have very high specs, and it's not a competition for the Quest. The more interesting thing for me is the Vive Pro 2 at this point. Now, one thing I will say is that I've owned a lot of VR headsets, and I've sold a lot as well. So I don't actually have too many at the moment. I've got a Valve Index and I've got a Quest 2, and I'm happy with that, actually. I'm not one of these people that wants to own every single headset. And I do like the fact that I've got a single dedicated PC VR headset at the moment in the Valve Index. But I'm willing to jump ship, and I'm gonna see what the specs are with this Vive Pro 2 and see if this could, replace my Valve Index. But we'll have to wait and see on the specs of that, of course. So we'll see. I'm excited whenever there's a headset that's coming out like this. I'm excited to see what it is. But
me too.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful with this one.
Right. Tommy, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite headset right now? Probably the Quest, because you're selling lots of games for it. Or what is it?
I think the Quest 2 has just really showed, good price point, good resolution, lighter, it's the first real VR headset that's doing what it has to. The hardware is now at a point where like the ball is in our court as software developers to make games that make you stick and want to come back, and it's worth putting on something that's uncomfortable on your head. And I think we have that with Quest 2. So I look forward to like seeing others who really challenge that at like a low price point, and no cables. I think that's a very important thing.
Right. So actually, for you, these kind of announcements that are coming out of Vivecon are not so exciting, right? Because there's no low-cost solution that could anyhow or in any way like compete with the Quest 2, right?
Well, I think it's great for both consumers and for developers when there's like several different big companies kind of battling it out on the hardware side. But at this is more like really high-end stuff. So for us, it basically just means more work testing. We like to cover, we want to make sure we're on the Vive headsets, which we need to order one. We need to do testing on it, make sure that works and doesn't produce any funny stuff. We're trying to do cross-play between all our titles. Like you can be on whatever headset you like, and you can still play with people who are on the Quest.
Yeah, that is a cool feature of Demeo as well. We're going to get into that as well. Tetiana, what are your thoughts about these leaks? Do you think this makes sense? The Pro 2 and the Focus 3. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, what I was thinking is when I was reading the article, it says that Vive Focus is HTC's standalone headset line. So while the one that's the slightly cheaper one, the Vive Pro 2 is not going to be the standalone, but Vive Focus 3 is going to be a standalone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, what is this headset going to offer for almost $1,800 that will be so game-changing that will completely destroy Oculus Quest? I need to know. I need to know right now. Tell me what it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's there. It's set out to defeat Oculus Quest. I don't think it's competing at all. I believe that this is the headset that is perfect for enterprise customers, like companies who want their employees, their coworkers, to use standalone VR, but who do not want them to have that Quest 2, that Oculus headset. And if you are an enterprise customer, then you also have to go for the Enterprise Quest. And that's going to set you back like $800. So it's not that $299 price anymore for enterprise customers, right? So you have to pay $800 to get a single Quest. And then every year you have to pay like, I think $150 on top, like maintenance fee. Recurring. Every single year you have to pay that. So then overall, as an enterprise customer, you have to pay like $1,200. So if this headset from Vive does not have this yearly recurring cost, then I do believe that €1,400 price point makes actual sense. And then if that standalone headset probably has higher specs, can do more things, has a higher resolution, has other specs that are surprisingly better than what the Quest has to offer.
Yeah,
then I believe it makes completely sense, right?
It does, but it doesn't really mention anything about the controllers, which also made me wonder: is complete hand tracking possible, or is there going to be any controllers in this headset at all?
I think yes. Yeah. My thoughts, I think it will have controllers. You mean the standalone headset, right? You mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
They could have licensed the Leap Motion stuff as well, because there was another headset. Is it Xtal that licensed?
They have exactly. Yeah, they have the Leap. Yeah, right.
So they could do that if they wanted hand tracking. It depends what they have envisioned for this product as well. Targeting it at enterprise, what they see the use cases as being. I expect it will come with controllers too. Just guessing on the specs. Really, this is ridiculous, because why would I even do this when in just a couple of days, really, it's going to be announced anyway, and I'm going to look stupid. But I would say that, I believe that this will be XR2 as well. Like the Quest, I think the Quest 2. I believe it will be that system on chip, and I think perhaps wider field of view, but high resolution, eye tracking built in. Maybe that facial thing, that mouth tracking technology perhaps as well. We know all of these things that they've got working in the background, but there's plenty of other things. It's speculation. I know I'm going to look ridiculous in a few days.
Just in the next MRTV podcast we will already be discussing all of that and forget everything we said today.
Right. No, who knows? But anyways, do you believe that this wireless $1,400 headset, that it could also stream Steam VR content using something like AirLink or a link cable? What do you think?
I think, is that not possible on one of the previous Vive focuses? I think
yes.
Yeah, there's a way to do that anyway. So I would think, and that would be a great thing to do. But again, it's probably not a priority for them if they're not targeting that angle. I think HTC know that certain number of consumers are going to want this and try this for that thing anyway.
Yeah. I somehow have the feeling that some enthusiasts might want to pick this up if this is able to stream Steam VR content, and if this is like a very beautiful headset. So I believe there are going to be enthusiasts who are going to pay, if it's going to be, I don't know, €1,400 or whatever the leak was. I believe there are some. But honestly, I was thinking probably the other headset, the Pro 2, it might even be more interesting for lots of people, because there are lots of VR enthusiasts out there who love the Reverb G2 and who love the Valve Index, right? But if this is now something that could be higher in spec as compared to the Index, which is right now the highest spec PC VR headset, right? Then this might actually be pretty interesting. Probably it is a headset that also has Steam VR tracking. Probably it has a higher resolution than the G2 and than the Index, right? And then also the Vive Pro, it is compatible with a wireless adapter and with a face tracker. So we could be looking at a device that is better than the Index, but is wireless with the wireless adapter and has a face tracker for $900. This might be an option for enthusiasts, right? What do you think? Yes.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I was saying, this could be a replacement for my Index. That's what I'm looking for from this. I'm looking for a replacement for my Index, this Vive Pro 2. But it's got to have the right specs, and I've got to see the right things from it. HTC have been steadily moving to inside-out tracking. It's not always been successful for them, but that's the way they seem to have been moving in general. However, the fact they're calling this the Vive Pro 2 rather than a completely different name would perhaps imply in some ways that it's still using Steam VR tracking. And I hope it is, or their own. Well, I hope it's using Steam VR tracking, if I'm being honest. It's interesting, and certainly looks at this point to be a viable alternative, or a potential viable alternative to the Index.
Right.
I will try to look into these specs as well, and I'm actually looking for expanding my very small collection of one headset. Well, the second headset is PSVR. So, I don't think I will make a very hasteful decision whether I will get it or not, because I do want to hear what the Oculus Quest Pro will bring us, or 3 or Pro, whichever that will be.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen this year, right? This is going to happen in 2022.
Okay, but that's like 6 months of wait. Right. I don't know. All right. Well, we will see. I'll tell you next week.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Tommy, are you going to pick up all these new headsets that are going to come on the market? just for research reasons to play your games on it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a pure enterprise angle to them, then maybe not. But if it supports like Steam VR, then probably there will be one in the office that we'll test on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a great job that we're having. Like always, the latest headsets. It's great. I enjoy it. Yeah.
Just a quick one for you then, Sebastian.
Yep.
It's a silly one because I know what's going to happen. You're going to be getting both of these headsets, aren't you?
Yeah, I have them here already. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But yes, I will have them here I will have them in the office very soon. And of course, I'm going to show them. I'm going to review them, of course. So yeah, looking forward. Really, I'm really looking forward to that. I must tell you, it's good. It's gonna be good. That far I can say already.
Good stuff.
Yeah, great, perfect. So that was the topic about the Vivecon. I'm really looking forward to that here on the channel. And as soon as the embargo is lifted, that is on 11th of May at 6 p.m. Berlin time. Watch MRTV. It's all going to be here. Yeah, right. Okay, so now, Tommy, it's time to talk about Demeo. Really, like the three of us, Gary, Tetiana, and me, we are really blown away. We loved it. We absolutely loved it. As soon as we got it, the game, we wanted to play this together. Not because we are like particularly into social games or so, but it looked so great, right? It looked so great, and we simply wanted to test it out. And I think our first reaction, you can watch it on Tetiana's channel, but it was just like joy, right, Gary and Tetiana?
Oh yes, definitely. That was the first thing I said. I said I'm not used to social games that much, but this is just so enjoyable, and it's so like polished and sleek and fun. We had so much, like we laughed a lot when we were doing all these stupid things and trying to figure out how to do it smart. So we had to do it stupid first before we could do it. It was great.
It was so amazing. Tommy, tell us a bit more. What gave you the idea for Demeo? And probably for all the people who have not yet an idea, what is Demeo? Probably you could first give us like your elevator pitch.
Yay.
All right. Well, it's like personally for me, and I think it's going to be the elevator pitch as well. Like I played a lot of role-playing games with my friends back in the 80s, and this is the reason why I got into programming in the first place. I just felt like they were so incredibly fun from the social dynamics, but they were very complex. A lot of rules, and somebody had to prepare. I was often the DM. And I liked being the dungeon master and explain all this, but I thought, it would be super great if I had like a proper tool so I could do a lot of this with my computer. So I started programming. Anyway, long story, 30 years, 35 years later, whatever it is, here we are. And it's a game where you're a bunch of friends. You are actually in a basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of 80s basement.
Stranger Things basement.
Like in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
From an American movie.
Exactly that.
And you have a magic tabletop role-playing game in front of you. And it's very easy to understand what to do. Like, you just move miniatures, you throw dice, and you have cards.
The tutorial is very clear. Tutorial was so well done. Like, we could jump right in the game after it. Well done.
Thank you very much. And it's even if you have a new person who hasn't gone into the tutorial, it's really, really quick for them to pick up what to do, which is great, I think. And a lot of focus has been on like the social interactions between people. So it's it's a slow-paced game where time flies because you're having fun, you're talking, and when we play it internal, we do a lot of like role playing, and somebody's Deckard Cain, and we'll do like, hey, stay a while and listen. You just nerd around, which is
haven't done that yet. That's the next step.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
I have a question. So you mentioned that back when you were, younger, you were playing with your family. Was it the D&D that you were playing? That exploration.
Well, I'm in Sweden, right? So we tried Dungeons and Dragons as well, but it didn't really stick. It was so much rule books in English, and we were quite young at this point. We were like, I think we started around 11. We were decent in English, but not like pages and pages of. So we were playing like Swedish versions of.
Okay, so would you say that was the main inspiration for this game, or do you think there were other maybe video games, maybe movies that you drew some ideas for design or for gameplay, anything that would help you, draw from to make this game?
Absolutely. There's been a ton. I mean, one of the key people behind this has been Mike Booth, who is a famous American video game designer. He worked on really cool titles, everything ranging from Left 4 Dead, which was really his game, and then he programmed the bot for Counter-Strike and for Team Fortress and a lot of like classic PC games. So he brought with him a lot of great references that we have kind of talked about and integrated. And then we like one game that we all love is Slay the Spire, which is a PC game, which is great, an indie game that I can really recommend. So, I mean, you look at a lot of different, and you mentioned Stranger Things too, which I think is I loved the first season of that, and really captured a lot of these young kids playing it. And really,
nerdiness,
That is the basement. I believe that is the basement from Stranger Things. When I saw it, I got so reminded about that. Those kids going down, playing that, and it just feels like this. I think it's so well done.
And I actually never played a board game in a basement in this traditional setting, so it was really cool to finally do it.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Exactly. Tommy, I want to ask you, did you directly know this can work super well in VR, or were you not sure about it? Did you first have to try it out? And when did you make the decision, like, yes, this works? Did you have a prototype first, and then you found, like, wow, this works so well? Or tell us a bit more about the actual process of knowing, yes, this works, and we are going to put like the resources in it, right? Because you said like you've been working on it for 3 years with 20 people in Sweden, which is expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike Booth had already experimented a lot with these type of things. I worked with social VR at Facebook. So he brought a lot of ideas and knowledge on that end. And then we made a rather quick prototype. I think like in two or 3 weeks, we had something that we could almost play. Like it had the graphics of the miniatures, and we felt pretty secure that this would work. But one of the problems 3 years ago, like the concurrency of players just weren't there, right? You wouldn't have 4 players who knew each other at the same time in VR. So time kind of caught up on us there, which we're very happy about.
That's nice.
But for the past 2.5 years, I would say we had a lot of fun playing it internally. It has to be pretty difficult in order to be fun, because you want these situations where you're like, oh no, we're gonna get wiped out. Sometimes you do.
We had quite a few of them.
Yeah, like wow, suddenly so many of the opponents are in the second level. Like what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that feeling when you open a room and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, we had that. Well, one of the things I was going to ask as well, because I know I mentioned this to both Tetiana and Sebastian yesterday, but one of my favorite games on the Oculus, it's an older game now. It's Brass Tactics. It's a real-time strategy game, but it's got some of the same flavors of this in terms of you're playing on a table with these miniature. It's very much like a board game, but set in the like a real-time strategy environment, really. And I absolutely love that. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that it didn't have too much depth beneath the surface. fortunately, Demeo has, it goes much deeper than that game, and that's something that I love, because there's certain strategies which we discovered quite quickly in the second level that didn't work, but we can refine our play style, and also having the cards and all the different mechanics that you have going on around the card is fantastic and gives it further depth. One of the things I was going to ask you is, at what point do you draw a line with that stuff as a developer? Because I can imagine you developing this title thinking we've got all these mechanics, but we could add this in, and make it more and more complex, more and more deep, of course. At what point do you draw the line with that? Is it simply play testing, or?
Yeah, a lot of it is play testing and intuition. When you have a lot of senior game developers or game designers, that helps a lot, because we've done a lot of mistakes. This feature creeping is very common, right? And with Demeo, I think you see this already, right? There's so many things you could expand, you could have in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so easy to imagine this would work perfectly for a sci-fi adventure as well, or this would work perfect to have a dungeon master, and all these things that you can imagine, and we can imagine too. And some of them we tried, and some of them we have like embryos of, and we know we're going to put in there. So it's super fun for us to see that it actually worked and people are loving it. And we have like a 90 Metacritic score, which is unheard of. It's my first time in my career. That's been quite long.
Congrats to that.
I'm super excited about that, because it means that we can continue working on it and add a lot of those things that we want in there. I think one of the kind of obvious things that a lot of people are asking about is to be able to mod this and add content to it, because they're thinking about stuff they want in there. And I think it would be great to have kind of user-generated stuff in the game eventually.
Yeah, like the members of the Next Dimension podcast as little figures. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Now we're talking here.
Yeah. No, but I mean, and the modding community has been fantastic on PC, and like something like that. Somebody is really talented at doing 3D, and they have a fixed idea, and they do something fun, and they could either play it like just with their friends, or they think it's something that could fit the whole community, right? It's
I'm sure there's going to be so many players who would die to get more content, more monsters and characters. I think maybe jumping off of Gary's question, so there are 4 main sort of classes or characters you can choose from, like a warrior, a wizard, an assassin, and a hunter. And by playing a lot of RPGs, I know that there could be so many more. So I can imagine it was such a probably headache to find these 4, to just limit to 4 classes, 4 characters of all the possible ones. And I'm just curious, how did you make that decision? How difficult was it? And maybe why those 4? And will there be other ones added in the future?
It is very likely to imagine that there will be, right? I won't spoil anything here, but we wanted to make sure that there was a couple of ones that really complemented each other well, right? The hunter is a good ranged attack, and the tank is good at like blocking off an area and really getting the monsters to stay at a certain place. And we still allow you can play it like 4 tanks, and it plays very different. I mean, these are things that are just super fun to go into the details as a designer and work with. But a massive amount of testing is needed. One of my favorite old-time classic is a game called NetHack, which is like one of the original rogue-like games where there's like massive amount of monsters, and they have different spells, and they can throw the spells on each other, and you get a lot of merging effects out of that. And that takes a really long time. NetHack, they've been working on that for over 20 years now, but you have to kind of make a structure that fits that style. one of my favorite things from that was the polymorph spell. So like you could either get it on yourself and you turned it into a random monster, and then you get that random monster's ability. So all of a sudden, if you're like a rat, you can spawn rat nests, and they all join you.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
So many possibilities. Wow. Now, what I think is beautiful about the game, it's very easy to pick up, right? Like the tutorial it just takes a few minutes, so you learn what you have to do. Like it's easy to attack the others, and it's easy to heal your friends and to use the cards. So the basic principle of the game are super simple to learn. You will definitely understand it, and I think that is like a big reason, next to all the polish and everything, for its success, that people can pick it up so easily. But then there is this depth to it, because we found out yesterday, okay, there's so many cards, and we have to learn all these cards. It will take quite a while, and then because there's different cards, you have this kind of strategic aspect to the game, which makes it more deep, and so not so simple. So I want to ask you, Tommy, how long does it take until you become like a really good player? Like, you know all the tricks, and probably because of your experience, you are a good player. How long will that take?
Well, I think it varies a lot on how much similar type of games you played. Like if you played Hearthstone or
Zero. I have no idea about these games. This is really first time.
It's very much fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, if you're familiar with them, it'll go faster. If you're not, then it's better, because then you have more fun kind of discovering all these things, and it's like a universe in itself that can kind of be opened up once it's more accessible. Once the rules are not so complex, and it doesn't take so much to get into it. And personally, I think both games and virtual reality is going to be relevant for everyone. So I hate when people try something and they don't understand the basic mechanics, the controls, and they think, oh, this is not for me, But if they just understood that simple interaction, then they would have loved it. It would open up a world for them, and they would be blown away, because they had never done anything similar. They thought that the best thing to do in the evening was just to watch a lame show on TV that they've seen hundreds of times. But now, all of a sudden, they're like, wow, the interaction and the camaraderie and something like this is really incredible.
This is something that's key as well, because it sounds like Sebastian and we haven't really played any games like this before. But Tetiana, I think you have, haven't you? You've played similar kinds of board games in terms of like real life board games and that kind of stuff.
Well, it's the board games, and it's also turn-based RPGs on the flat screen, like even like what is it called? Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yep.
And Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, just Warcraft. Yeah. So all the turn-based strategy kind of games and board games as well, they are kind of, I don't know. I don't think I was good at this game by any means.
You carried us through. Anyway,
yeah.
That's the main point.
We were happy that you were there yesterday. Watch her video, people. You will enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. We laughed so much. It's such a disaster.
One of the things I was going to say as well is, because sometimes if you come into these things from the outside, it can be a little bit daunting. You don't know what to expect. As you were alluding to there, Tommy, like if people that haven't played these types of games before, and you think they're closed off, I'm not going to touch them because I don't think I'm going to like them. What I like about this is the accessibility, is what Sebastian was saying. When you first go into this game, you play through a very short tutorial and you're in. You know what you're doing off the base. And what I was saying earlier, from that base, then you've got this extra depth that you can then get into if you want to, and I think if you want to succeed, it just sort of pushes you in that direction to learn all these individual mechanics as well. So yeah, from my point of view, coming in from the outside, you did a great job with that tutorial and getting us into the game. It's always good when because I've been on other podcasts as well. It's always good when you've got a developer from a game that you absolutely really do enjoy. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I found it so amazing that it's not just the multiplayer, but it has this one player campaign, like single player campaign that was what I played right before we recorded that video with the three of us. I played it and I failed very quickly, and I just quit and started again, and I learned from everything, all the mistakes that I've done. So I completed that again. So every time you play, you learn something new, and you proceed like deeper into the dungeon. It makes you feel good about yourself that you're getting better. You can see that you're learning. You're not making the same mistakes. So it's great. It's so well done.
Yeah, like the lamp, right? I totally attacked it because I thought like this is like an enemy, this is evil, right? But then it turned out okay, there was a mistake. Yeah, I'm now poisoned for the next 3 moves or what. It's really, oh my goodness, I can't wait to go back into this game. Really cool. Tommy, what do you think? How important is it for the success of this game that you can enjoy it together with 3 friends, this kind of like togetherness? Like I found, like for me personally, I also do enjoy sometimes like to play Population 1, but as we said before, okay, I get shot in the head very easily, and then it's probably not so much fun anymore. But here, it's like I don't feel like this kind of pressure. It's like I can sit on that table with friends, like with Tetiana and Gary, even though I'm not a professional in playing these games, but still I can enjoy it. Even Tetiana is amazing, and I'm not so good, but it's like this togetherness. Is it one of the important parts of this game that makes it so interesting?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it helps super much that you're collaborating, and that the game is a little bit slow paced, so you're not really ruining the other people's experience if you're not as good as somebody or knows all the rules, right? So I think that's one really key to maybe convincing your partner to try something out, is that it's not so like you're not facing them head on the first thing you do, and you're like, ha ha ha, I won, You're working on something together, which is really fun.
Yeah, I like that. It's not the kind of game that you're like, at first maybe we thought that we would be fighting against each other, but no, you're actually like building, working through it together. And I'm actually thinking, so we had a lot of fun because the 3 of us, we knew each other, we were friendly, we were having fun. But there's also the randomized game where you can get paired up with other players that you don't know. And in this case, I haven't tried it yet, but I wonder, would it be a similar kind of experience in a way? Like if you don't know these people, how would it affect, this collaboration? It's kind of like a test. Can you work with people you don't know to
it's a social experiment.
Yeah. No. I think so far it's been very overwhelmingly positive comments about that. I think the VR community is very like tightly knit, and
right.
A lot of people who really want VR to succeed and thinks it's really fun, so they try to make the best. There is often, as we know, play multiplayer games, there's often griefers who just plays to ruin other people's experience. But the host, in this case, the person who started the game, can kick other people, and then you can mute somebody if they're rude. So we hope to have decent tools for that. You can also report people, but right. It is harder, of course, to play with randoms. But it's also a bit satisfying when you meet a good group and you like get new friends. And I was really amazed by this podcast here. We were from 3 different countries, right? And it's or 4 different countries, which is really cool. And we speak in real time. We couldn't do this back 10 years ago.
You're right. And actually, I also felt like this way yesterday, right? So like Gary being in the UK, Tetiana being in the US, me being in Germany, but we were sitting around that table as if we were there. We were together in that basement.
We could high-five each other.
Yeah, we could high-five each other, and we could see each other's hands moving around and like doing the rolling thing. It's magic. this is really for me one of the magic things about virtual reality that still, even though I'm in that business now for years now, it still gets me. This kind of togetherness. And then if you're together with friends playing this game, magic.
I absolutely agree. And I feel like with Mike Booth, I only met him a handful of times in person, but we meet every week and in virtual reality. And I feel like I'm very, very close to him.
And we don't know where this pandemic is going and don't want to make it dark, but it's so important. Like these kind of experiences, they are so important. And I wish everyone had a VR so that I can connect with all my friends and all my family members.
Exactly.
Because I can't do it right now. And this really makes me very optimistic and at the same time, like really wanting to accelerate it. Come on, man, like develop this thing. We all need to have it like the cell phone. We need to be able to connect in VR. I'm looking forward to the moment when it becomes even more mainstream than it is now.
Yeah, it will be. And not so cheap. Yeah, sorry.
One thing we have done here is that we are releasing a flat screen version of the game in order to get your friends to play it with you. So eventually they'll say like, oh, maybe I'm gonna buy a headset, so you can check it out in VR.
Like, can I play in VR while my friend is on flat screen, or you have to be on the same?
No, so it will be cross-play between the two.
That would be great.
That's so amazing. Will they be able to see me floating around? Oh, that's so cool. That's great news. Yeah.
That is brilliant. Sorry.
I was just wondering if I could ask a couple of questions from chat as well. We've got a couple of good questions. First one, Chris Richardson, he just said, and this is an interesting one for me as well, because I played the single player skirmish. He was just asking why, was there obviously some kind of design decision that went into this, but why there's only 3 characters in the single player skirmish? You only control 3 characters rather than the usual 4. Is there any reason for that, or?
Yeah, there was a lot. We tried a lot of different things. I mean, we mainly designed the game to be a multiplayer game, but we also know that it's not always you have friends who can play, and some people just prefer single player straight. And we knew it's going to be a fun single player game as well, but it's very different. Like, the first thing my go-to place was like one character. You control one character.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do in the multiplayer game as well. But that becomes a very different game because then you don't have the combinatoric effects of like the tank and the ranged. So we tried 4. But becomes a little bit slow because you need to move all of them, and we tried 2, and then we kind of settled with 3 and said this is a good in between.
That's a great question. I didn't know that. Well,
right.
Yeah, the other one I was going to ask as well, and Carlos has just re-asked it as well in chat. Just about, I don't know if this information is already out there or if you've mentioned anything about this, but he's asking about PSVR port plans. If you've got any plans for PSVR on this game.
We haven't announced anything there yet. And to be honest, I think it's unlikely we would go for the PS4, PlayStation 4, because the performance was difficult to work with there from our previous experience. And you have this puzzle of different devices. You want the Quest 2 to work with the Valve Index and adding PlayStation 4 there to the mix, I think would be tricky. But PlayStation 5 and the next VR headset, something that I'm personally very excited about. So I will hoping for that.
Do you already have the PSVR 2 at home, Tommy?
No, I have a PlayStation 5.
Okay. I know that you cannot really answer, but I think this is something that we can look forward to, the PSVR 2, and I'm also looking forward to that. But actually, also one of my friends here in Germany, he also wants me to ask you this question. Why did you go away from the PSVR platform, also with your games before? Like, I believe, like Blaston, it was also not on PSVR, but your first games were. So why did you make the decision to leave the PSVR platform? For what reasons? Because there's still a good install base, right?
Yeah, there is. But one of them is the performance that was tricky. And another reason is we just never managed as a company to get a good connection with PlayStation for some reason.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we tried a lot of times. So it's like, oh,
their loss.
Yeah, really.
So it's been a bit of a struggle. We had a successful run with Angry Birds for PlayStation VR, and we love that they're doing this and that they're pushing it. So I hope to be better prepared as a company for the next generation.
All right.
Here's the thing about the game. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it's very obvious, but what does Demeo stand for? What does it mean?
It's really just a name, but it is also Latin, and it means I descend. But that's not really the point here. It's a short name that's semi easy to remember, and works in several different languages. So
I was just very curious. That's a very cool name, and I remembered it immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
One of the things that we had like a fight about when we just started playing is we started the game and Sebastian was already in the game and he picked a character who's the warrior. I don't remember the name. What's the Sigrun.
Yeah.
And I actually read the bio and I knew that Sigrun is a woman.
Yeah.
Because she's referred to as a she. And I said, Sebastian, I
oh my God, yeah.
her. She's the only woman. And so we had to start again because I insisted that I play with her. And I thought that was so unique that such a strong tank character was given a female role in the game, and I just wanted to comment on that and say that I appreciated that. And what was that decision? Did you know immediately that you wanted to assign it as a female, or was it something that you decided later on?
Well, I think we're all very we think it's important. There's actually 2 men and 2 women. Two male and 2 female characters. I think that's it. So the Huntress is also a female character.
Okay.
I mean, in this case, I think it was it's typically the illustrators who do the first passes on the characters, and then the game writer is also involved in kind of coming up with a good backstory and stuff. And I get involved to make sure that that people don't forget that there is more genders than just one and things like this. So it's often a team effort to make these things, even though the game writer is obviously very important in making it to a good and believable character. I don't know how long you've seen, but there's also amazing skins that you unlock if you play after a while. And,
so I checked this. Yeah.
Yeah, they make the characters look completely different.
I was looking forward to them, but when we started the game, it was all just the same skins, right? So you unlock them as you play. So that's another reason for me to keep playing. I really like. Because we all looked the same when we were playing too, right? We were all wearing the same glasses and gloves.
Oh, this is going to change later as well, or?
We will have more skins, I believe.
For the players, like the glasses, or what is going to change?
Yeah, so those things can be customized as you unlock them.
Cool. Wow, that is really cool.
We were already making plans to buy the same glasses and just join the MRTV podcast one day.
Yeah, exactly. They would be perfect merchandise. These glasses, just send them out. I mean, you have amazing merchandise whenever you start a new game. Like I can remember the cooking thing that you sent over. Amazing. Yeah, so make the glasses happen, and we're going to wear them in the podcast. Really cool. You know what, Tommy, I was really surprised by how the game even captured me when I played it single player. So we first played together, like the three of us. And then later when I was at home, I thought, you know what, let me play more alone to get deeper into the game. And first of all, I didn't think that I would have as much fun as I had with the other two. But it turned out I also had lots of fun playing this alone. And as I said on Twitter, I played until 3 a.m. and 43 minutes, until 4 a.m. in the morning. And the reason I stopped was because my Quest 2 battery died. The one with the battery extension. So I played like for hours and hours, and I totally forgot the time. It's really incredible. That really seldom happens to me. And by the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Resolution Games. This is really, we are really excited about this game. So Tommy, did you imagine that people will also have fun playing this alone? Are you aware of this, or what are your thoughts playing it alone versus playing it multiplayer?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it works quite well, but it becomes a very different game, right? Because you don't have this conversation and this talking to other people and strategizing with them. It's more
true for like myself in my head.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still super fun, especially if you haven't played a lot of these other games, because then a lot of it is very new. Like Heroes of Might and Magic is one of my favorite game, and especially 3 and 4.
Oh yeah, the third one forever. I still play it sometimes.
Me too. I played with my wife on the iPad. We take turns.
Okay, oh yeah, it's so cool. It used to be this amazing game just on the tabletop computer, and obviously now they port everything on smaller technologies. Now you can play it anywhere. It's great. I love technology. I think we have more questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Let me see. Any plan to make a toolkit so people can make their own adventures? Chris Richardson asks.
Wow, good question.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the expansion directions that we and a lot of players get very excited about. We don't know yet, but we're going to look at it. What we have promised so far is that there is more content coming. Like we have on Twitter showed what the book 2 is going to look like, and what the realm of the Rat King.
But how does it work? I mean, how does new content work? Is it like new levels? Well, I don't understand these kind of games so well, right? So I'm the newcomer to that whole D&D stuff, and I'm fascinated right now. But how does it work with new content? Because for me, in my imagination was like actually that there is like one game master, and he tells a story, and people have to imagine it. Okay, now there's a big dragon coming, and is it like this? Or how does it work with the new content for the game?
For the game, we will release like new levels, new enemies, new
that makes sense. That makes
spells
sense.
and characters and this type of things.
New cards and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, one of my German colleagues, he wants me to ask, is there a way to tilt the board so that you don't always have to look down? Because then actually, also it came to my attention after I played for hours, and I was looking down the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
I did actually. Well, I thought I mentioned that yesterday when we were playing.
Oh,
that
really?
You
You
can use
said-
the trigger
I
because
see.
I also found it, and you can tilt it 90 degrees,
Oh,
I believe, so that you
That's
just look straight.
perfect. How do you do
You
that?
did mention that. Yeah, you did mention that. And I was trying to work out how to do it, and I couldn't work it out. So how do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it, Tommy?
With the little, what is it called?
The thumbstick?
trigger. The
thumbstick. Yeah, you press it forward.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
push
Okay,
it forward
cool.
or backward. That's very easy.
It's pretty straightforward. You see what we're up against here. This is the kind of this is my mindset. This is why we didn't do very well in the second level.
Exactly, Gary. Yeah, that's why Tetiana was ruling us. I mean, but we're in the same team, so that's okay. So we learned from her. She knew everything.
My favorite position is actually have a large bean bag
Okay.
that I can lie in. So I lie flat, and then I tilt the board so I have it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
and then you can lean back. I have the professional, like the hard strap, so all the weight disappears from your face, which is super nice. So I had like a 6-hour VR game session when we were playing against journalists, and it wasn't any problem.
Well, one of the things I was interested in thinking about, like, because the game's did it come out on Thursday? Is that right? It came out on Thursday, yeah. So it's only been out for sort of 3 days at this point. This is the third day, and you're getting all this feedback, I would imagine, because a lot of people love it. I've not seen any bad reviews really of the game, but I'm sure there's plenty of comments and feedback that's coming into you as well. How is it you're like developing this at the moment? Are you sort of working through all these comments, all these feedback, and trying to implement them where you see fit as well? Is that happening at this moment?
Yeah, absolutely. We work a lot with the community in Discord, specifically, where people are, where we have like group chats where you can suggest things, and we look at that and weave it in with what we're excited about, and make sure that we kind of. It's always great when you have this communication directly with the players.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I mean, we can do it now. I can imagine all the games that were coming out years before Discord, and there was absolutely no communication with the players. And just thinking about it now, you can actually send your suggestions. You can give your feedback. It's amazing that this kind of opportunities, I couldn't even dream of them like years ago.
And you guys are so approachable. It's amazing. On Twitter and everything, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So much more better for expectation management and everything. Like you can share the roadmap, what you're working on. And what we did with Blaston is that we had actually 3 different teams working on 3 different things at the same time. So we've been really adding a lot of different content to it. Blaston has only been out for a little bit more than half a year now. And it has changed massively since we launched it. And I mean, part of this is the new, like the game engines, Unity or Unreal. They really provide so much power for developers to quickly do new things.
So this game is on Unity or Unreal?
This is developed in Unity.
All right.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is this your favorite resolution game?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, it's very close to my heart. But several of the games have been that in many ways. You see it a little bit differently when you're developing it. I mean, playing it, I really like this one, but I also really like Baston and Akron and Narrows, the pirate team that we did. So
Sebastian.
Yep.
You can't ask which one is your favorite child.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense, Tetiana.
So Tommy, seeing that there is Puzzle Bobble coming to VR, the game that I used to play also a long time ago. When is Candy Crush coming to VR?
That's actually, I think somebody should do a really great match 3 game and with a good progression. But at the same time, I mean, probably thousands of them on mobile phones.
Right.
So
Yes, clones, all clones.
yeah, but it is fun to do, like the match 3 core mechanics. It's very kind of hypnotizing. And I mean, say you had a long plane trip, then it would be very nice to just like take your mind out of the seat you're sitting in. Nobody's flying now, but after the pandemic, imagine that you would be flying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, coming back to the board games, I like this direction that the developers are taking with actually bringing the board games to VR. I believe the first one I heard of was Catan. I don't know if you played it. Catan is one of my favorite board games. Just to play with friends, we can talk about absolutely like unrelated things to the game and while playing. And now again with the social distancing, they brought Catan to VR, so you can actually pretend like you're sitting at this table, actually moving all these figures. It was so cool, and I was hoping to see more of them. And Demeo is just absolutely better than I could have imagined. So I really like the direction it's going. So I like it. I like that at the very beginning of the episode, Tommy, you said that you are, even though there's not as much money, even though it's still doing amazingly good, you can plan for the future. It's going to be getting so much better. I like hearing that. I like hearing developers being so optimistic about this technology and not just thinking about the immediate gain, the immediate profit that you're making or maybe not making. So this is the point where I think the VR is going to grow and explode even better. I'm so excited about this.
But Tommy, do you believe that VR will be as big as 2D gaming?
That's what I believe is, I think I also am a big believer in AR, and I think a lot of these technologies are similar in a way. I think the use cases can be very different in some cases. But a game like Demeo, for instance, would work very, very similar in AR. Right? You could have the board game on and you could see your friends, and now you're all in your kind of living room. They would float around still and be less physical than they are in real world, but it is possible. So I do think that if you group them together, VR and AR is going to be way bigger than anything we've ever seen in terms of smartphone and PC.
Okay, that makes sense. And you know what? I personally, and I know Gary as well, we are kind of believers in AR, in augmented reality, even though it is still far away. Yeah, but I think we believe in it. And here, I have the Unreal here. It's like the first consumer AR headset that's on the German market right now. It's going to come to European and the US market soon. And I'm wondering, isn't Demeo like an amazing game to have in AR? I'm just imagining, like me and my friends, like being together in a real location, like they're really coming over here, and then we're sitting around a table, and we're all looking at the table and see those little Demeo figures, and we pick it up with our real fingers. What do you think about that? Is that something that excites you as well?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But at the same time, like right now, for us as a company, we're focusing on making money on existing hardware.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do believe that I would love to just make a proof of concept version, so people could see and understand how incredibly powerful this new technology is. Right.
That's Chris Richardson has asked another good question actually in chat, and this is something I was thinking of when Sebastian, you were describing that everybody coming around and sitting in the same location. So Chris Richardson said, speaking of AR, any interest in porting Demeo to Tilt 5, the AR thing by Jerry Ellsworth, I believe, where you all sit in the same location, you've got these AR glasses, but it's sort of focused around this board in front of you, and everybody can play because it's using the technology more in a way that it can be used today, I suppose, because it's got this board to focus on and it knows all the patterns on this board. It can use it to generate various different kinds of games. But I suppose, I mean, I don't know if you have any familiarity with Tilt 5, but I suppose it comes down to the same thing, really. It's got to be like a user base which will justify the porting over and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, one reason why I'm very excited about VR is as well that it helps with big problems such as global warming when we don't have to travel. We don't have to fly over to Dallas right now to hang out together in the same room, right? We're in our home. It's very comfortable to be able to do this and then immediately jump on the next call and continue your work somewhere else. It's you don't have that if you need to go into the same
it's more
with regular board games, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. So I think now is the time for the last questions. If anyone in chat still has some questions for Tommy, now is the perfect time to ask those questions about Demeo. And I would also like to tell everyone here that I got 5 quest codes from Resolution Games. Thank you, Tommy. And these 5 quest games, I would like to give them to you. So I'm going to give them away to people who comment on today's show. So after the show, or when the show is on YouTube, and once you can comment, please do leave a comment. Tell us what you think about Demeo, how you feel about it, if you've played it, and if you have not played it, why would you like to try it out? And then I'm going to randomize the giveaway, and then 5 people will be able to play Demeo completely free. But even if you don't win it, $30 is absolutely worth it. And the cool thing is you can play it cross-play, right? You can play it against somebody who has the Quest version if you are on Steam, and the other way around. It's beautiful. And that's probably one question that I have. Is that complicated to make something like this happen in Unity? I think that is great. And I miss this for some games, right? That you are... No matter on which platform you're playing it, your game is platform agnostic, and you simply are in that basement together. That's amazing. But is it a big challenge for programming?
Both yes and no. Like Unity makes it simple in the sense that if I'm with a bunch of developer friends and we throw together a prototype, we can test it and it works great. It's like super simple. But the reality is unfortunately way harder, because often with a game like this, or always with a game like this, you have to have the same version on all the clients. So we can't have like an older version of the game on one client play with something else. So that means when you launch it, it has to launch exactly, all the versions must launch at exactly the same time on all the platforms. And if there's bugs on one platform, it will, have a 4-player game, and now nobody can play. So it's very, very technically complex. And VR still doesn't have support for soft launch as much as other platforms have. And soft launch is when we launch, we test it in one region, or we can test it at one place and see that, okay, does this new version work? Have we ironed out all the bugs? Now we have to kind of really do our homework well and keep, make sure we don't make any mistakes. And there is bugs in Demeo that we are working on. So people are, it's Saturday evening here in Sweden. People are working, trying to fix this, and we will be pretty fast at ironing out the first things, I think.
All right, cool. So probably as a last question, now that you have launched this, what is your focus on? Do you already have your next game in your head? Because I know that you have so many games in your head that you want to put into VR, right? We've seen so many games from Resolution Games. Or is it now like you're still going to focus on Demeo because there's so much things that you can do with Demeo? What is next for Resolution Games?
Well, we're a pretty big company now. We're just at about 100 people, and they are in parallel working with many different projects. So we're working with several unannounced projects, and that will come out in the future. And we're also spending a lot of effort on Blaston that we launched half a year ago, Cookout, Demeo, and even Acron. Still people working on.
Wow. So you are so busy, and you're not letting the old games just stay there. You're still keeping on making them better. That's really, really incredible. All right, so we have reached the 2 hours mark, and I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm already so grateful, Tommy, that you took 2 hours of your time so close after launch to speak with us and to directly speak with the community, the VR community who's watching this. So thank you so much that you made this happen so spontaneously. Just as today at 3 p.m. if you would like to join. And thank you so much for being on the show. It has been a blast.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
That's amazing.
Thank you. It's been amazing, especially after playing it. Right after playing it, we get to speak to you about it and share our excitement and our emotions and impressions. It's fantastic. Congratulations again on such a successful launch.
Exactly. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you so much also for all of you who have been listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give this a thumbs up right now that we're still here. Also, please do leave a comment. Again, I have 5 codes for Blast On for the Quest and the Quest 2. So please do leave a comment. I'm going to find the winner. So as soon as this podcast is on YouTube, and you can comment, do leave a comment. Do let us know how you like Demeo, and also if you don't have it yet, why would you like to have it? And I'm going to read out your reasons. Also, I would like to thank the sponsor of today's show, VR Week. VR Week is going to be from 17th of May till 21st of May. It is a VR expo that is all about XR for business. And you can find the link down in the description of this video. And I got 25 free tickets for you. If you want to attend the show, probably you want to watch Pitch MRTV live in VR with me, then please send me an email. The first 25 people who send me an email to my email address that's down in the description of this video, they will get free entrance to XR Week. And now, at the very, very end, I would like to ask you to give us a 5-star review. If you enjoy this podcast, if you want to say thank you that we're here every Saturday for you, then get out your iPad and iPhone, open the podcast app, which is pre-installed there, find the Next Dimension podcast, and do give us a 5-star review. We are looking forward to get 100 reviews. That is our goal. So if you enjoy what we're doing here, then this would be the biggest thank you that you can give us, and I would like to thank you. That is everything that we got for today, and I would like to wish you a good evening. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, super nice. We are still live, Tommy. Yeah, don't worry. We're still live. Don't say anything wrong. This is like the cool down. It's going to be like just like 2 minutes or so where we're still live. And I simply want to ask you, how did you like to be on the show?
Yeah, super fun. Especially so close to the launch, and you just play the games, and you obviously liked it.
Oh, yeah, lovely. Yeah, really that must feel good, right? To see those real reactions. Like again, this enthusiasm is real, right? This is not sponsored. This is just like we love your game, and so I can just say thank you, because this is like a jewel in VR, and this is going to convince more people to get into VR. And I'm so excited that you're going to bring this out for 2D screens, and people will then feel like, wow, I want to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, that's a great point as well, to get sort of people thinking, how it would feel if they play it on a 2D screen. It probably gets their imagination working, how it would feel if this was all rendered out in front of them in 3 dimensions and looking into that little diorama. It's a great thing to do. But it's been great talking to you, Tommy, today, because honestly, with the Quest, I love the Quest. I love that platform in terms of what it offers, because it's very difficult to dislike it, in all honesty. But I think we need more titles with a little bit more depth on there, and Demeo is certainly one of those. So fantastic.
Absolutely, I so agree with that, and I appreciate shooter games and things that you use to wind down of your hard working day and shoot some zombies or whatever. But these kind of games with a board game or strategic thinking and critical thinking is involved, especially if it's in a cooperation with your friends and you try to figure out how to do it. It's very rare, at least for now. And I hope to see more of that. But now I'm probably going to play after the podcast, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
me too.
Sebastian has his share of gaming yesterday. I closed it after we finished, and I went on to to edit the recording and to put it online. But I haven't played enough, so that's probably what I'm going to do after the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tommy, the 2D version of Demeo, and by the way, I'm giving away Demeo keys, not Blast-on keys. I think I misspoke. Demeo keys. So, is it going to be like on what? On Steam, or is it going to be on the iPad? Or tell us a bit more about it.
I don't think we have shared any details of that.
Got it. Yeah, okay. So then it's going to be somehow in 2D. And do you know like some kind of like time frame that you could already say, or is it also something that you cannot tell us right now?
I can't tell because I don't know. So it's not necessarily a secret, but it's not like
you don't know yet. You still don't know. Yeah.
I've tested it myself. I can say that, and it worked fairly well when I tested it. But we need to go through like the QA process and make sure that there is no breaking bugs and stuff like that.
Wow. I think this is going to pull so many people into virtual reality. Yeah. Anyways, that's it now for today. We're going to say goodbye to all the people out there. Thank you so much for watching the show. And see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Great talk.
Bye.
Bye.